So this is the game that you want. Yes? Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah, I think this is the one, yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me make sure we are set. We're set to 1080 there. Good. Okay.
Bolt Racer, go inside the building on
We
the
don't
left.
have a chaser.
Yeah.
Only Ball, sorry. You have to be more passive Ball now. Do the.
I don't know if it's only for me, but it's lagging a lot.
Okay. Let's take a look here.
I have no problems.
You have
Yeah, same.
problems? Okay. Then give
Okay,
me...
I'm just gonna check my router then.
No, I have no problems.
No problems. Okay, good. Got it.
Engage just
I'm gonna
hold
be
it
right
and you're
back.
gonna get mines
Okay.
and dynamite from the ash. Also you scout first, or anyone can scout. When you figure out what type of team composition they have, any one of you need to determine the play style, what you're doing. So you're gonna say, for example, they have roll, wait for them to come there, burn them up, and then full dive, or just like it's in the middle of a fight, so it's up to shot calling. Scout and then determine what you're doing after that.
Right. Okay. So how much experience do you guys have on this comp at this point?
I don't know, 6-7 scrims.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
something like that.
That's fine. So
and 3-hour theory session and 1 review from me.
okay, cool. Norvek, so what are you trying to cover in this specific downtime sort of between fights here? Like I can get into what specifically are you covering here, or I can get more into the game. Like I can do this either way, but I just want to make sure that like is this is during the scrim, and like are we going over what they struggled on last time? Are we updating them based on what we're looking at in terms of hey, how the rest of the scrim has been going, comps that we're up against? Like what is the thought process of what's going on here?
On this map, we've been playing of the playstyles that we have to when we have to full dive. We've been also playing playstyles against brawl or like less pokey comps. So we have to poke before we dive.
Yep.
And I'm not 100% sure about some stuff. We can go into them, but well, I want to go through comms in the first place, and also I there is like there is not one very big point
Okay.
I want to go through. It's just like generally
Sure.
polishing the engages in the playstyles in general.
No problem.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
They are playing a rush. No, they're not. I'm not sure what this is.
Okay, so generally we just start calling heroes that we see. If we don't, until we identify a comp, we usually just start calling heroes. So, you know, we might go Pharah, Sigma, and then once we've identified enough heroes, we'll just change our call to the comp that we recognize the name of.
No clue what it is, I'm sorry.
Is there pharmacy again?
Gonna play comfort picks maybe.
It's retarded poke.
There's a Ryan's discorded.
Oh, they have a widow.
Sigma's discorded. Oh, again. Discorded.
Poke.
I'm sorry.
Is there pharmacy again?
Gonna play comfort picks maybe.
It's retarded poke.
Okay, so I've heard we've labeled what this comp is now. Are we comfortable that the team knows how to play into this just based off of what it is? And what I mean by that is it can be a useful call, especially for teams that are still learning, sort of a reminder anytime the comp changes what our neutral win condition is. So let's start now. What is our neutral win condition into this comp?
They?
What, dive? Sorry, is that what you said?
No. I just said they, the name of the team player. So he can. Usually in this team, if you don't say the name of specific person to start talking, they are just all quiet. So,
Got it. Okay, yeah, anyone can tell me.
Yeah, they.
Getting rid of the support and intercepting their flankers.
Do they have flankers really? Like you could sort of consider Pharah a flanker, but I more consider Pharah a poke hero than a flanker. And they don't really have like a Ball, a Winston. Am I mixing up my teams here? No, I'm not. So they're red, right? Like you guys are blue. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, I'm looking at Discord names and everything. So what is blue's win condition into red right now? How do you guys beat this comp? It's paused, so you guys have lots of time to tell me. but intercepting their flankers can't really be right because they don't have any flankers.
Using up resources.
They don't really have resource limits. Like, the resources that this team has, yes, Anna has some resources. Widow has a grapple. I guess Pharah has shift. Reinhardt has a shield. Not really. What we're looking to do against this comp is we're looking to hit some sort of dive because they beat us in the poke game. Like, if we think about this, they've got a pharmacy and a widow, and both of those are really high poke value heroes, right? And they've got a Sigma that's giving them some good poke value too. You guys are looking at this and going, okay, we don't particularly like this. We could try to battle this with our own Echo Ash. So we have our own poke value, don't get me wrong, but they have the Mercy too. But ultimately, it looks to me like they have better poke than we do. Does that seem correct?
Yeah, like everyone here knows that with hybrid we have to full dive against poke. They even call it in the game. I have no idea why are they so quiet now.
Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine with me. I just would like any time that we see that, until everyone is like super 100% comfortable with that, I would like an early call out once we've identified the comp from someone on the team of what our win condition, what our neutral win condition is. And anytime there's a change either to our comp or to the opponent's comp, it's a good idea to remind everyone what our new or continuing neutral win condition is, which in this case would be, set up dives, look for dives, etc. So that's all I wanted to say there, because that's something that it reminds everyone, it gets everyone on the same page, and that tends to help. So that's what I would have hoped to hear comm wise, sort of after we'd identified their comp. Instead,
There's a Ryan. Ryan's discorded.
Oh, they have a widow.
okay, we should full know what their comp is by now. We shouldn't have to be calling what their heroes are because we're more than 15 seconds into the match. Everyone should know what their full comp is by now.
Who's discorded? Oh, again.
Okay, so again, are we looking to, like this Pharah is a useful call. This is a thing that we should be going, hey, Pharah left, push out the Pharah, something along those lines. But I'm not hearing any talk about setting up a dive. I'm not hearing any push out the Pharah, then we're going to dive. I'm not hearing us communicate any staging right now, which is a little bit concerning.
Oh, Widow half.
Farah.
Okay, and now Echo's in, but Echo is kind of in a low.
want-
So
Widow
as
half.
we look at this, Echo's going in, but at the same time that Echo is going in, our D.Va is backing up, and I get that our D.Va is low on health, so I understand that, but this is in no way a coordinated dive. They're all going to be able to peel our Echo Pharah here, because we didn't make any communication of, let's commit, are we staged? We didn't do any sort of, are we set? We didn't take space. Like, if we look at this, we generally expect to be able to go, hey, we've set our D.Va up to control this sort of corner over. You guys probably can't see that, can you? Can you guys see my mouse?
Yeah, we can see our mouse.
Yeah, go.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, I'd expect a D.Va staged over here. I'd expect us to be going, can we get our ball into here? Like, I'd expect us to have tried to stage a little more for space. Instead, we didn't do any staging at all. Our D.Va's back here, our ball's back below our screen, and our Echo's going in, and there's no way for our dive tanks to follow it. Like, we should be able to hit a 3-man dive on this backline back here where Echo's going in, but we weren't staged at all. There wasn't any sort of, staging calls, any sort of battling for space, and calls to help battle for space up here would have been totally fine. We needed to battle for this space to force the Pharah out. That's totally fine, but I'm disappointed that we're not doing anything in terms of our proper staging for a dive here. And that's, again, the reminder of what our win condition is, can help with that.
Discorded.
I need some heals if you can.
Where are you? Where are you?
I'm diving
He's half.
fire.
Yeah, and again, that's too late. You're not really diving far. You're pushing Pharah, you're marking Pharah. You aren't really expecting any help on this point because you didn't give anyone any warning that it was happening. There wasn't any sort of 3-2-1. There wasn't any sort of, oh, there's a Discord on the Pharah, now I'm going to go after it. You know that your Echo doesn't have cooldowns available because she was over here. We're looking with Dive to have synchronized cooldown timing use for power. It's like, hey, my Widow, my Ball, and my Echo are all getting power over their normal by doing something together at once. We're not going, my Echo goes after their Sigma, and then my Diva goes after the Pharah, and maybe 2 seconds later my Ball will go knock away their Reinhardt. We're looking to get these pretty tightly packed together to get value out of dive. Otherwise, poke is going to beat us, right? Cool.
Right, Farah's half. Farah is literally
I
one.
was muted. I'm sorry. We need to full dive them if they're playing poke.
Widow dead.
Okay, there's our call. Good.
Is everyone ready to full dive? 3,
40 seconds in a game.
Yes, yes.
1.
One, go.
Anna, Ryan.
Anna.
Anna now.
Sigma's like one. Sigma's
Anna
one.
one. Anna dead. Anna dead.
Okay, so this is much better. We're going to re-go over it, but this is much better that we've now, 40 seconds into the game, got a call of how we beat them, and an actual...
Is everyone ready to full dive?
We've done a little bit of staging in that our Diva and our Echo Mercy have been able to take some space.
3, 2,
Two,
1.
one,
We do a countdown.
go.
Anna, Ryan.
Anna.
Ryan was never really a good target, but she can shoot on him on the way, and I wouldn't even call that, though. I'd be looking for...
Everyone ready to full dive? 3, 2,
Two,
1.
one.
Where's our Ball right now? Does anyone know?
I think I'm already behind them.
Oh,
Perfect.
in their spawn, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm like in the right in the little building there.
Okay, that's perfect.
One, go.
Anna, Ryan. Anna now.
Sigma's like one. Sigma's one.
Anna dead.
And Anna's a good
Anna.
target, so that's fine.
Widow.
Fine.
Ryan,
Farah, just go.
So this sort of becomes a
Widow, widow.
two-person thing.
Anna
So you
now?
guys go for the Anna dive here, which is fine with me.
Sigma's like one. Sigma's one.
And then we swapping to Sigma is good, while the Ball ties up Widow. But I would like our... I'm going to try to force the quality on this up a little bit.
It's kind of like watching something from the 60s.
What's that?
It was like watching something from the 60s.
I'm trying, but I'm not sure we're going to get better because we've got the quality of the
It's no
original
worries.
recording. We've got the quality of the screen share. Neither of them are doing great for us. So this is good that we were calling the Sigma after the Anna because the Sigma's discorded and our backline can actually contribute to taking down the Sigma, and the Anna's not going to be able to prop that up anymore. But we do need someone to tie up the Widow because she's just a high enough level threat that we need someone to. And my preference would be, hey, Ball's good at that. Let's have Ball do that while we have everyone else focus on the Sigma. So what I actually like to do is I like to assign someone. It might be your Sigma, or it might be your Ball, might be your Winston, could be your Diva, could be a Genji. I like this call called Widow Tide, where if the dive is happening and we're going against a team that has multiple high-level threats, we end up in situations where we have a dive target and we also have something that we need to tie up, which is usually a Widow. And what that's going to be is the normal target calling is going to happen with the dive team, but someone is going to remove themselves from the dive team. In this case, it looks like the Ball, and I don't need you to communicate when the Widow, I don't need you to be shouting for targets to hop on the Widow, unless the Widow really is the dive target. I need you to instead be shouting when the Widow is tied up versus when the Widow is free, so that your team knows what level of freedom they have to make their dives to exist in open. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what we're doing is we might do a 3-2-1 dive call, and as that dive call is happening, our Ball gets on Widow while everyone else gets on the Anna, the Sigma, whatever it's going to be. And then if Widow gets away from Ball with a grapple, our Ball might say Widow free, and you're not trying to flood comms, but you're trying to communicate that information. And then once you're back on her 2 seconds later, you're back to she's tied. Basically, your team needs to know when she's a problem and when she's not, and they'll get to her as like the second or third target, but they can't necessarily go deep enough to her because she's going to be positioned away from her team that, like, if they go for her, your backline isn't contributing. So you would really prefer to remove these targets like Sigma first while you just tie her up. Okay.
Anna dead. Widow.
Ryan,
Farah, just go.
Okay, Widow's back. Nice. Evade.
Fine.
Good.
Fine.
Okay, I gotta get back. I
The
need.
Paris discorded still.
Okay, everyone stage up together, you're gonna full dive again, full dive Anna.
Okay.
Diva, after you full dive, after you use your Matrix, go for Farah. Or Widow,
Okay.
depends on the situation.
Careful, Mercy. Careful. Widow's that line.
Pharmacy.
Where's our Ball staged? Best guess?
Okay.
I honestly don't know here.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just a little surprised that we don't have anyone in blue, to be perfectly honest, because it looks like
All right.
all of our dive is going to come from one direction right now. I have no idea where ball is, but I would sort of expect to have either our Echo Mercy up in blue or our Diva up in blue, because I know our backline is going to be threatening from this angle. I would like us to threaten from multiple angles with our dive, and hopefully our ball is either back in red near spawn or back in general near spawn, and then our backline gets to threaten from this direction, and then we would like a third or fourth direction. So I would sort of like, hey, a diva over here.
Temporal.
What's that?
When is it a good time to stage all together and engage together with Diva Matrix, and when is it a good time to actually engage from multiple angles?
Engaging from multiple angles is with dive, engaging from multiple angles is usually much stronger. Now, you might need to rotate, like if you were on the retake, if you guys were attacking rather than defending, you might need to rotate up, and your diva and people might need to help people rotate to sort of get them far enough, and then they start to separate for their staging. But in dive, before the actual dive comes in, it is always going to be stronger if it comes from multiple angles than from one direction. So my preference would very much be in pretty much every case, you guys won the fight, so you had time, and they have to push in up to this cart here, so it's very easy for you to be set, and you don't have to struggle to rotate into these positions, if that makes any sense. So pretty much always we don't want our dive to all come from one direction, we want our dive to come from multiple directions. We just sometimes, if we were the attacking team, for example, might need our diva or someone to help people get into their positions.
Okay, and why is it better idea than engaging with Diva Matrix? Because like Diva Matrix can prevent the taking poke while engaging, and if we engage from multiple angles, Diva can cover only one angle.
Sure. So what ends up happening there is, how shall I put this? So the way that I'm going to say this is, if you are engaging from multiple directions, it compromises the enemies for a couple reasons. Because they end up in this situation where, let's say that these enemies are the pink car, and we're all diving from newsstand here, right? So if we're all diving from newsstand and they're pink car, they can retreat from our dive. All of us are using our movement abilities to go forward, and they can retreat from our dive in one direction. If we all use all of our movement abilities, and Diva uses booster, Zek uses flight, and we just get to pink car and they back up, they can outrange us a bit. Or they go into back here and they have cover against us, they hide behind something, and then they can sort of outrun us. They can Lucio speed, they can just walk, they can put their shield up and block in one direction as they're going back. If we're all coming from one direction, they're not herded very effectively. Plus, we're going to frequently end up diving into the front line like this. Like, they're going to back up until their front line is in front of our dive again, if that makes any sense. If we're coming from multiple directions, so again, using this pink car example, we have one person coming from newsstand, we have one person dropping from above, we have one person coming out of these stairs from behind, there's nowhere to back up to. If they run away from, let's say, the ball that was coming down these green stairs, that's going to run them toward newsstand, where they're getting hit more by our Zen, more by our Echo that came in from this direction, or our Diva that came in from this direction. Or, if they retreat again from our ball that came from this direction, they're visible to our Echo that came in from this direction that is doing work. They're visible from our Diva that came in this way, from our Zen that came in this way. So it's this situation where when they get hurdled around, when they have to move, when they're pressured, they're in this, oh shoot, this is tricky for a situation. There's nowhere really to go, and our front line can't adequately protect our back line because there's threats coming directly from the direction of our backline, directly from the side, etc. Someone like Orion can't figure out which direction to effectively shield because there is no right answer. Whereas you guys, even though you're diving, you have directional damage. So if you all diving from the same direction, that Reinhardt shield still does quite some good until you get past him. And if he can just back up to keep you somewhat in front of him, that's going to work. You with me so far?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions on that topic? I mean, we can get into a little bit more, but basically it also splits their attention where they're going, hey, I have to look this way and this way. And if they're looking at your Echo coming from this high ground here, then they're not looking at your ball that came in from here, and your ball doesn't even have to aim because they're not even looking at your ball, so your ball just gets to hit a lot of headshots on the Zen in their back line, or the Sigma that's standing there, or the Ana, etc.
Okay.
Pharah's coming up.
Pharmacy main.
Widow left.
Pharmacy. Yeah, Widow's main as well. They're all on main.
Alright, ready?
Ready?
3, 2, 1. Ana.
Ryan's discorded.
Still Ana, still Ana, still Ana.
Ana.
Varus
Ana
discorded.
one.
Zarya.
Zarya bubble. Zarya bubble.
Varus discorded. Right. Varus
Ana
discorded.
one.
Zarya.
Zarya bubble.
Varus discorded. Right.
Okay, so now we need to talk about the backline because we have the call from our Zen going on in terms of, hey, I've got the Discord out and that's cool, but you guys effectively have to make a decision of right now you guys are set up in a, no, let's go back a bit further here. If we think about what's going on here, you guys have a 4-man dive team effectively, right? Because your Mercy is going in with your Echo.
Yeah.
So that means you have a very uneven dive versus backline team. And that can be fine, but it means you're playing hard trades, which means your Zen and Ashe have to potentially play a bit more conservatively. So if we look at
Main.
this,
They're all on main.
Alright, ready?
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
I don't particularly love where Ashe is playing from in the first place. Like, this is just sort of like, why would we be here? Again, we could be up over here on this second floor. We could be actually on top of our behind truck. We're just kind of in the middle of street right here, and that's not particularly great. I get we probably want TNTs to throw over, but this isn't a particularly good place to be playing from. So we don't like that. We want to be playing from places where we have to accept that we're not going to get very much help as this backline. We're a pretty frail backline. We don't have a Brig or anything. We don't even have a Lucio. Our D.Va is going in on dives, not protecting us. So we're looking at this and going, we have to be playing from places where because our dive team is going in hard, we can kite them. We can effectively last longer than the opposing backline. That becomes our job. And we're mostly going to have to do that with our positioning.
Ryan's discorded.
Our Ashe is like running forward like she's a part of the dive here, and we haven't turned this front line around yet, right? Like this Fair is coming in, this Reinhardt is coming in. These guys aren't playing peel dive. If these guys were playing counter dive and turning around and trying to punish our dive team, we could potentially push in with our backline here.
Still Ana.
But that's not really what's going on. So it's not our Ashe and Zen's job to go, hey, we're going to contribute to this dive as hard as we possibly can. They wanted to get some poke damage done to enable the dive. They wanted that. If they could chip some targets down before the dive goes off, that's great. But now their job is to survive for longer than the opponent's backline. And this isn't really enabling that. You see what's happening here?
Varus discorded.
Our Ashe was like running forward to contribute, and our Zen is doing much the same thing. So you see what's happening? Like, yay, we got the Ana. I feel like we had to work harder for the Ana than they did for the Ashe.
Zarya
bubble.
And I feel like our Zen is free now. And that's because our Zen is free for now. You see where I'm going here with this?
Varus discorded. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So again, we want to get that Discord out there. That's really good. We'd like to get the early poke damage from our Ashe and from our Zen. But then, unless we're having resources stay back, like our Mercy stay back or our D.Va stay back to help peel, these guys are pretty much on their own, and they're really going to need to be thinking about, I don't need to do much damage. I just need to not get taken down by the Pharmacy plus Rein that are coming after me. For as long as I can. Like, I really don't need to do damage. I just need to survive as long as I can because my team is going to... We're committing 4 people to the dive. That is going to get work done.
Zarya.
Okay. Thanks, Varus. Nice one.
Mercy low, dead.
Ryan.
Widow one. Widow discorded. Okay, Widow down.
Careful, D.Va.
Nice. Okay, this is good.
They swap to Mei. It seems they're gonna swap with the Widow too. No, they still have Widow. Anyway, our playstyle is still full. No. Actually, a VHH playstyle. We now poke. We poke, disturb them, wear them off, and then we call for full dive when they have no resources.
Okay, so you're going to play poke into this. Fine.
Okay.
There's eyes discorded.
Oh, stupid.
They're Reinhardt shatter, I think.
Mercy discorded.
Yikes.
Okay.
No bubble.
Discorded.
Oh, stupid.
Okay.
They're Reinhardt.
So our angles are kind of passive right now in terms of the distance. Like our Ashe has a lot of height right here, which I suppose is good. If we know where the Widow is and the Widow is tied, again, we can communicate better when the Widow is tied. That's something we can do in the future here. But we also are looking to be like, can we be more extreme with our angles? Can we do, hey, our Ashe is a bit further over? You know, we don't want to just be in the open. Maybe we don't want to be here because of the Widow, but we would like to be here if the Widow is tied up. If the Widow is tied up, that in fact would give our Ashe a chance to take down their Widow. That would still be very high on our list of things to do. But even if not, we're looking to be, okay, can we jump up on top of Newsstand and fight from here? Can we get a little bit more work done right now? Because these guys, while our ball is pulling how many eyeballs right now?
2, 3.
Yeah, not two. Widow and May.
Widow, May, and Zarya, actually. Or no, that's not Zarya, but that's somebody. That's
That's
a
May,
May,
I
that's a
think.
Widow.
Anna, May, and Widow.
Right. So that's 3 sets of
Widow's
eyeballs.
further back.
What's that?
Widow's the further back one.
Yeah,
and
Widow's
it's
right
May's
here.
the middle one, the one to the far left.
Yeah.
And
so
then
this is Anna.
that's Mercy, isn't it?
Could be. I think this is could be.
And that Shatter, I think.
You are right. That was Mercy. Yes, and now Zarya's turned around too. So like we need to be doing work. We need to be doing work either like crushing this Reinhardt or more likely crushing this Zarya, and we don't really have good angles to do that. You see how we've narrowed our angles completely? So like all of this damage is coming. The Ashe, the Zen, and the D.Va is all coming from the same direction. We have no ability to punish this unsupported Zarya because the Zarya is basically unsupported right now. We need to be going, hey, we have aggressive angles and we can do a lot of work. Yes, we're still probably going to lose this fight because our ball went down, but we're just not set up great to do the damage that we
Mercy
need to
before
right
that.
now.
Yikes! Yikes! Yikes!
No bubbles,
So I
no
can
bubbles.
get
They use bubble.
Okay,
They use bubble.
Ryan,
Three, two, one,
Down
down
one, down one, down one.
Ryan's discorded, Ryan's discorded.
and that's over. Yeah.
Down two.
Down two, down
May's
two.
discorded.
Okay, so I'll be curious
Run
to
away
see
if
if
you
you
can.
guys
Take
make
high
an
ground,
adjustment
Ash.
to your
Take high
comp.
ground, so we can use bubble.
Down three.
I'm gonna
Gonna get away.
Down four. Reset.
Down
Reset.
four.
Reset.
Reset.
They're gonna point. They're gonna get point.
That's
We
fine.
can't do anything about it, man.
Fine.
We're down four.
Yeah, we lost it.
It's very good trade. We have almost all our ults.
Okay, keeping on your comp, you have ults. Fine.
They have sights. go.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna full dive Anna.
Can I get kills?
Not bad.
Thank you.
We're gonna full dive Anna with all ult.
Oh, there's a
I'm
widow.
so bad. I'm so bad.
Reset, 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 reset.
Unfortunate. You can cover it for the rest.
I hate
Don't
Widow.
peek, don't peek, don't peek.
Okay. Are we gonna push up and rest that or no? No. Huh.
And ball, you select the position and who to full dive. You're gonna use ball ult, Bob, and Diva bomb, nothing else.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait for Ash, and then we go in.
I am here.
Mercy
Okay,
discorded.
ready?
Okay.
Call it, bull.
Yeah, we're gonna dive Widow 3,
Widow's on the right side.
Two.
Widow's the right side.
1.
So a couple things go wrong here.
We're gonna dive.
I would like actually us to rotate our D.Va closer to the left here, just because that's easy. I don't mind this dive from this direction, but again, we'd like our dive to come from more angles. Right now we have our ball coming from one angle, and we'll have something coming from this angle, I believe our Echo, and our D.Va's probably going to go through mid. We can make it more extreme by having our D.Va go left and come from staircase, and the rest of this is mostly going to be fine, other than, hey, we get widowed. And our Echo probably doesn't want to be the first portion of the dive, but, you know, that's life. They're roughly synchronized, but you know, just sort of reality is, hey, let's let the ball
Dive,
drag for just a
Widow
moment.
3,
Widow's on the right side.
Two.
Widow's the right side.
1.
Fine.
Widow 1.
And that's not really timed right.
Widow
So
one.
if we
Widow's on
look
the
at
right side.
our
Two.
timing
Widow's-
here of our dive, in terms of we did our countdown here, so our Ashe is in open, or our Echo is in open space in the Widow sightline before our ball has dove, and our ball diving now is
Right side.
fine, but if our ball is hitting now,
1.
why is our D.Va just here now? You guys see how separated that dive was in terms of your timing?
Yeah.
So that's a problem, and you guys need to compensate somewhat for the difference in your dive timing, because you want to be on her at basically the same time. Your Echo
Yeah,
can
but-
afford to be a little bit late, because your Echo is going, hey, I can get one shot and you guys can't, so like, plus I can do good damage on my way in, much more so than either of you. So she has a little bit of an excuse, but you two need to be better synced if this is your dive target. And even if this isn't your dive target, even if you're diving separate targets, like you're going balls on Widow while the rest of you are on Anna, which isn't what I'd recommend, that this was the correct dive with the positioning that existed right now, you would need but even if you were going after different targets, you would need your timing to be better than that. So you can do your 3-2-1, but you have to scale that appropriately. So if your ball is doing the dive count of 3-2-1, you need to D.Va be able to tell where your ball is and how fast that dive is really going to come in, because you might need to dive on 2, right?
Yeah, this is the thing that with Brawl, when we count down to engage, that means when we speed, when we start engaging. But in dive, the countdown means like when you say now at the end of the countdown, that means when you are going to be already on the Widow, not when you are going to start going there. Unlike the rush,
Right.
which is something. Yeah.
I can see how that would be confusing. Yeah, 3-2-1, and then you leave cover when you're done, as opposed to the dive when you're done, you've arrived. Yeah, those are different, but they need to be, unfortunately. Okay.
With the one half.
With the one.
They just got it. Hit Widow, she's half, she's getting res. Widow's headshotted. Widow's discorded still, nice.
Ah, mid.
Rocket.
Full
dead.
Anna,
Anna on point.
These three.
Discorded.
Anna. Just that one.
Anna discorded.
Right. Anna.
Okay. So you guys have won this fight, right?
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, you've basically won this fight. I mean, it's a little uncomfortable that you lost, that you didn't get everything that you wanted in terms of your ashes back in spawn right now, but they're not really in this fight, so we can afford to slow things down, right? Like, we can stabilize and wait for our new set of cooldowns, because if we think about how these comps work, dive, remember how we talked about synchronizing your cooldowns is how you get power when you're playing in a dive style? Whereas when you're playing a bit more for poke, you get a benefit when the fight goes long. And when you play for brawl, well, you're playing with your health, you're playing for synergy, you're playing for peeling for each other, whatever. It doesn't matter. My point here is you guys already sort of hit your explosive dive, right?
Yeah.
Do you have your cooldowns yet to dive again?
No.
Right, so we don't want to continue to pursue this fight. And also, with what's left in their comp, they don't have any sustain left. So we can just go full poke into them. We can just go, hey, Echo Zen, tear them apart. Just don't let them catch us and tear them apart. We don't need to recommit for another hard dive until we've regained our cooldowns, and every second we wait is actually in our favor because we have poke and they don't at this point. So we should swap after a successful aggressive dive. You actually want to sort of, if you can immediately follow it up into another elimination, that's great. But once you start to get a little separation, you generally want to go, especially against something brawly like this. Hey, we've taken away an opponent a piece or two of their brawl, and once brawl loses a piece or two, it really starts to fall apart. But you don't need to just feed into it because they are still pretty good if you just fight them on top of them. So do a little poke, stabilize for a moment, and then continue to go back in. Once you've softened them up a bit more, like it's okay to basically call a mid-fight restabilize. If you guys were on brawl, you'd probably understand, hey, stabilize means let's sort of put our shields up, let's heal people back up, let's maybe get behind cover for a moment, and then we'll continue the fight. You can do much the same thing in a poke or a dive comp here, where you go, hey, we traded out favorably, let's, rather than give them a chance to swing the fight back in the chaos of just going again, let's give things a chance to stabilize, because if we restabilize, that means everyone has their cooldowns again, everyone has health again, and that's what we want when we're up in people, okay?
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, I got you.
I'm dead. I'm dying. I'm dead.
No, you're not. Oh, I fell. Oops. Ryan's discorded. Ryan's half. Ryan's one. Oh, I fell. I got you.
I'm dead. I'm dying. I'm dead.
Okay. I don't care that much about Ryan. And the reason I don't care as much about you guys as Ryan is Ryan, how do I put this? There's Ryan. Ryan's a hero. Can Ryan really get on you guys? Is Ryan really that dangerous to you other than a shatter?
Not really, no.
Right, and you
Yeah.
guys should be playing high ground. Your Zen is totally safe from their Rhine. Their Zarya is a little more annoying. Their Mercy would stop them from getting heals, and their Mei is probably a lot easier to force the ice block out of and then eliminate than their Rhine is, right? Like their Rhine takes forever to heal because, excuse me, with healing involved. Let's see, 1600 shield, 550 health, half of that armor. He'll take some damage on his shield. He'll get healed some. He'll take some more damage on his shield. It's work. It might be like 3,000 damage, 2,000, well, more than 2,000. It might be like 3,000 damage to take this Reinhardt down instead of 550, just because he has that shield, right? Like that's a thing that could happen. So instead, let's focus on easier targets. Let's go. I don't want to fight the Rhine. Fighting Rhine is absolutely a mistake. Let's instead try to get angles. Let's force out personal bubble on Zarya. Let's force out ice block on Mei. We'll shoot at the Rhine if there's nothing else there, and we'll maybe we shoot at the Rhine before the Mercy because the Mercy's slippery. But we're looking to, if we put pressure on the Zarya or the Mei and make them use their defensive cooldowns, they're then going to become less dangerous to us. Mei is going to be a lot less willing to run into our Ashe, for example. That's not what happened, but run into our Ashe if she doesn't have her ice block available. So if we can put some pressure on her in this situation, put some pressure on the Zarya in this situation, or make our full commits onto the Zarya, Zarya's a lot squishier of a hero than the Reinhardt. So I'd like to do this poke, and I don't mind poking at the Rhine some, but I actually want Rhine to sort of be kind of a much lower priority target than these other things that are actually more dangerous to you.
I got you.
I'm dead, I'm dying. I'm dead.
No, you're not. Oh,
Yeah.
it fell. Oops. Ryan's disappointed. Ryan's half. Ryan's one.
Okay, you got the Rhine, but at what cost?
Make it.
May one.
I don't like just staying on the Mei call when she ice blocks. You do want to swap, even if it's a soft call into someone else, and then you just say swap Mei. Mei no block, and everyone needs to like understand intuitively that means very, very hard focus on Mei. Like that's what that means, but you don't want to just let Mei effectively have tanked thousands of damage, the same way I was talking about Reinhardt tanking thousands of damage, by going, hey, Mei used her ice blocks, and then we all stare at her until she comes out of ice block. Because even though you're not doing damage, the opportunity cost is damage that you could be doing to Zarya, to Rhine Shield, to Mercy, to whatever the case may be. So you want to put your damage pressure high on Mei. You want to lightly go at other targets. You don't want to like super leave. You don't want to spend a ton of resources, but you want to work on those other targets, and then you want to hard swap back to the Mei. But you can't let Mei actually drag your attention for the whole time that she's ice blocked.
Mercy half. Mercy low.
Which is basically what happened here.
Mei, Anna's discord in the back. Mei is on point and she's
I'm
discord.
gonna use max.
Widow's on silo. Widow's on silo.
Your comms are
Mei is on point and she's discord.
So these are all soft calls of like, hey, here's information, here's what's going on, but there is no like real call of what we're doing now. There is no real call of, dive Widow in 3, 2, 1. There is no authoritative Widow, Mei, and we'd be looking for that at this point. Like, you guys have your players back, you should have your cooldowns back. If you don't get that hard call, if you don't synchronize for another dive, you're going to lose because your comp's value comes from, hey, we're going to hit this dive on this Widow. You could just soft poke this team forever, but you can't soft poke this team forever while their Widow's up, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Widow's on a silo. Widow's on sidelines, missing every shot. She's half,
I'm
discorded.
No, I'm not
I'm
dead.
pushing pressure on her. Okay, put pressure on her. Widow.
Widow no grapple.
Widow's low.
Okay.
Widow one.
Widow no grapple under bridge.
No.
Widow dead.
Anna.
She's discorded.
No back here.
Okay, so again, we just really never restabilized in this fight, even when we got up to 6 people to actually get around to calling something, which is what, when we went down to 5v4, we didn't really restabilize, and we then started hard focusing the Rhine, and when we got back to 6 people, and we were actually in mostly a 6v6, we didn't really recognize that and go, oh, this is the beginning stage of a fight again, we need to synchronize our cooldowns and do something, or tie the Widow up constantly while we just outpoke them. We needed to recognize how the fight evolved.
So down point. Yeah.
Hey, Anna's down.
Reset.
They swapped out Widow.
They've got McCree now as well, yeah.
It's out.
Yeah, they got the point.
Josh, come back.
I'm thinking we're gonna copy Zarya and build up Graviton slowly. After we get Graviton, we're gonna go in and hopefully get a huge graph.
Okay.
Start the copy as soon as possible.
Okay.
Play slow, deal, just poke them.
Playing slow, play slow.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Zarya.
Yeah, poke Widow.
Okay, we have to go in if our Zarya's dropped in like this, or our Echo's dropped in like this. Yeah, she's just gonna get melted. So you guys see how this works? This is okay as our initiation, but if this is our initiation, this was a hard dive call, whether we like it or not. Like this was a hard push call, whether we like it or not. That's what it means when we drop a duplicate in their line. Because yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
Sorry, if we can go one step back and go to the IGLing to decide what we do at this fight. Again,
Sure.
our playstyle should be poke unless we have a lot of initiation rules, right? We have Transcendence, but the Echo really, there is no one to copy as initiation, so I decided as IGL to copy Zarya, poke until we get Graviton, and then full dive with Graviton.
Right.
Is that a good plan, or should we, is there a better one?
Sure. So, my preference would actually be that no, I'm perfectly happy for us to literally just beat them with the neutral. We don't need to initiate with the duplicator graviton. I can live with the hey, we're going to go for our grav. I can live with the let's duplicate and charge a grav thing. But honestly, it doesn't really change their win condition. Their win condition is either they get on top of you and can brawl, or their widow goes off. Whereas your win condition is you're going to outpoke them if their widow is contained and you don't let them get on top of you and brawl. So I'm looking at this and going, you can do the duplicate, but the duplicate, if you're going to do the duplicate, we need our duplicate to end up with us like right here or like right here, you know, somewhere that is safe from their brawl, right? We can't end up on top of them. We need to drop somewhere that is safe from their brawl. So that would be like high ground here. That could be back here a little bit. That could be on top of these steam tanks or whatever. And we also need to know that their widow is tied up. So duplicate can't really be our initiation because ball tying up widow sort of has to be our initiation, right? Because otherwise we're too worried about the widow getting an elimination onto our Echo or our duplicate once the duplicate is in play. Agreed?
Yeah.
So I'm okay with the call of, hey, we want to hit the duplicate. But again, most of this has to revolve around when anyone says go. Either ball says go because they've tied up their widow, or the Echo says go because, hey, they're duplicating the Zarya. That needs to be go for the ball to go tie up the widow. Like the widow has to be tied for this to work, and we can't just drop our duplicate into the middle of their comp because that is just, we don't have a brawl comp to back that up. They are a brawl comp. That's a feed. It doesn't work. So like again, over on top of this steam stack, but only if we've appropriately tied up their words are hard. Their widow.
Okay.
Start the copy as soon as possible.
Okay.
Play slow. Deal, just poke them.
Playing slow, play slow.
Adaptive circuits
Okay, so we hear the copy, so our ball's got to go, and it looks like our ball sort of goes. So our ball is on the right page, but this can't be where we drop. Like it just can't be. We had to end up on high ground, or we had to be further back, or on some sort of angle where if they push our duplicate, our poke rips them apart.
Yeah, poke Widow.
They're focusing you hard.
Raise discorded anymore.
That's bad. I'm doing bad. Still double jump.
Zai's discorded. Oh, nice eat. Zai's discorded.
Third one.
Wait,
Mail me. Anymore.
That's bad. I'm doing bad. Still double jump.
Zai's discorded. Oh, nice eat. Zai's discorded.
Third one.
Wait.
Mail me. Base one.
I got it.
Oh.
Rein's dead.
What the fuck, Josh? What the fuck, Josh?
Nice.
Mercy. Support.
Lots of
Are you bubble?
Anna's discorded.
Are you bubble?
Nate. Lots of
Are you bubble?
Anna's discorded.
Are you bubble?
Nate.
I didn't hear any sort of call for this, and I don't hear any sort of ask for this. I don't hear any sort of call from the player that they're doing this, and it doesn't seem like a particularly good idea either.
Bad one. Yeah.
Okay, so
How
first,
should I say it after this?
just not a particularly good idea. Second, I want you to call your ults. If you're using an ult, specifically if you're using an unplanned ult, I want you to call that ult is going out. Not so that you can be embarrassed if the ult doesn't get value. I don't care if the ult doesn't get value, but so that the team is reminded that they're using an ult. That does two really important things. It helps remind the team in fights, hey, hey, how does our ult economy look in terms of if my D.Va shouted that she's self-destructing and my Zen shouted that he's transing and my Mercy shouted that she's Valking, and maybe I'm Ash and go, maybe I'm not going to throw Bob because, like, I just heard all these ults that go off. And that was a better reminder than the in-game voice lines. Actually hearing my teammates saying that they're ulting was a better reminder. So maybe I'm not going to throw this extra ult in and just blow up our ult economy. But the other thing it does is it wrenches your team's attention to the fact that something powerful is happening. And something powerful happening is usually a window that they want to push during, that they want to be more aggressive during, right?
Yeah.
So I want my team to be aware. I want to like wrench my team's attention to the fact that I'm ulting, because self-destruct can be a pretty powerful ult where the opposing team is running away from it. Because the opposing team is running away from it, my team can push in pretty hard. And I don't want them to take half a second to realize that. I want them to realize that in a third of a second. Like, and that might seem like a narrow difference, but it's sort of like making your ult more powerful or making your ult have a longer duration by wrenching your team's attention to it when you ult. And I want everyone to do that generally for teams. Like, you guys can figure out your own comp structure. I'll be gone, in a bit, and you'll have to figure out if you want it, but I strongly recommend that people call when they're using their ults, especially when they're unplanned ults. Like, self-destructing, throwing in self-destruct, transing, Valking, Bob. If you're using an ult, specifically an unplanned one, authoritatively call that you're doing it.
Oh, maybe.
That's my bad.
Okay,
Okay,
we're gonna group up
Temporal,
together.
since we don't have much time, can we actually skip
Sure.
these two fights? Because these two fights are actually like not needing a review that much, but can we go through attack
Yeah, of
when
course.
we are attacking?
Let's jump a little bit further. Okay. Let's go back a little from here.
Yeah, and with bunker, what you need to do is to full dive it.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, ready?
Poke.
So I say tracer?
That's a bunker. I'm gonna correct
that
you again.
bunker?
Yeah, and with bunker, what you need to do is to full dive it.
Okay.
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 Okay, so what we're gonna do, Ball Tracer, you're gonna go inside the right building, then go underneath, hide on a staircase there, and when you're gonna full dive Tracer Ball, gonna go from behind, everyone else with
Yeah.
D.Va front. Everyone else goes left side, and group up at the exit from left side.
Perfect.
Get
Ready?
involved. Ball Tracer behind them on the stairs first. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for you.
Okay.
They have to stage first.
Watch out, they know we're here.
Yep, I do.
Yeah, we're ready, we're ready.
We're in position.
Ready.
3,
Up.
2, 1.
One.
Yep, I do.
Yeah, we're ready, we're ready.
We're in position.
Ready.
3,
Up.
2, 1.
Okay. So if they're gonna give this up, a couple things can happen.
I'm
here.
waiting for you.
Okay. Watch out, they know we're here.
Yep, I
That's fine.
do.
Yeah, we're ready, we're ready.
Our second team can call that our Ball and Tracer are being pushed. Like, they can call that they're leaving, and our Ball and Tracer can still get out, right? Like, they don't have to stay and fight this. They have the ability to leave. If this dive isn't happening right now, which is one option, the dive can happen right now, and that's fine. That would be totally fine. The other option is we stage deeper. Ball and Tracer can be the distraction as they run away for our core team to rotate in deeper, to destroy this turret, and then to stage back by, say, these stairs over here. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because
but
they've
how would you communicate that?
Yeah.
I cannot imagine like we can communicate this consistently.
Sure. So the second team here, I'm going to call them, could call get out, they're pushing you, or they could call dive. And if the second team calls get out, they're pushing you, the second team would just say take space. Like the second team would just say take space. That's all that they do. And if any of them realize, hey, take space, oh shoot, we can stage deeper. And that's what would have to be understood by this take space call or this stage deeper call or whatever it is here. But it literally would be a get out, or they're pushing you, get out, etc. Or we could just hard call the dive right now. Those are both the options that could happen right now.
We're in position.
Ready, ready, ready.
Now it's too late. We've taken too long to effectively communicate our readiness, our go. We didn't communicate that red was transitioning to you guys, and now this team is going to be in trouble.
3,
Up.
2, 1.
One, dive.
-1 on this.
Oh my god. Yeah, no.
Mercy, Mercy,
Alright, down.
There was no dive.
This.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. So
yeah, no.
Mercy.
okay. This matters though, right? You guys did just get the Mercy elimination, and your heroes come back a lot faster than she does, both because of distance and because of this. So if you guys soft reset, you can win this on the next dive, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
anyone going to call for a soft reset here to drop anything along those lines?
I don't
Oh.
think so.
I
Okay.
know. We
They,
just hard
they
reset.
definitely should.
Okay, so really this is just a soft reset. If you guys drop to where Zen is and then you huddle under them, they're not going to push you. They're going to be like, we're a bunker. We don't really want to go push you guys, etc. Your guys come back and you crush them. So, no big.
Mercy,
Alright,
dead.
down.
There was no dive.
And again, this is the tempo thing. Dive got its value with that initial burst, we'll call it, of the dive. And now you guys are sort of out of cooldown. So you'd actually like to restabilize. And you do that by leaving. And then you can dive back in. If you have an option after getting an elimination to sort of reset, that's perfect. Sometimes you just have to chain together eliminations, but if you have the option to reset, to go soft reset, get out, like dive and then you get your elimination and you all go hide behind a corner, that can be valid. Or dive and you get the elimination and then you all drop down to low ground, and then 4, 5, 6 seconds later, you all jump back up with your cooldowns fresh again. That's value. That's something you want to think about when playing dive into bulkier compositions like Brawl or Bunker.
Way too late.
Pop.
Still in the fight. No, that's a reset. A reset.
Yeah, we do this exact same thing.
Same
Sorry,
thing is
I
fine.
dived the wrong place. I thought it was. I didn't realize it was 7.
Be more careful on the stairs there.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting him Ash to hit me one.
Wait, can you scout first? Can you scout?
They're in the same position.
Yeah.
Okay,
same.
same spot. Okay, ready? Get
Yep.
the healer first if you
Okay,
can.
3, 2, 1. Dive.
Okay, you guys should win this pretty handily. You should be able to win the. You got the advantage on this tour battle. These guys are in here.
Mercy.
Dive.
Believe
Dive.
you do.
Dive.
Who are we on?
Mercy.
That's kind of slow for the call if it were on.
Arisa alone. Down.
I'm down. Okay, Arisa. Yeah.
Bat low.
Still Arisa half. Down. Still. 2, 1. Dive.
Okay. Before this dive even starts, what are targets that would be good targets that we would like to get eliminated here? Mercy's fine, and Mercy's not particularly hard because she doesn't have a ton of mobility in this comp. So Mercy's fine. What are other reasonable targets in this composition?
Ash.
Sure. Add to that list Bap and Sigma. Those are all fine. We're not so much interested in Orisa, right? Because we have to basically eliminate her twice because of Fortify. Yeah?
Yeah, Orisa is the tankiest tank in the game,
Right.
basically.
So we look at that and go, Mercy's fine, Bap is fine, we need to be aware of the lamp. I'd expect to hear 2 different targets right now because I'd expect our Team 1 and Team 2 to sort of have 2 different targets unless Team 1 is going to just burst through to join Team 1. But if we re-look at our calls,
3, 2, 1. Dive.
there should
Dive.
there should already be a BAP call. You guys, Team 2 should see the BAP already, and that BAP should be eliminated. Okay? BAP, why are you still alive?
Mercy.
the lamp's out. That's part of why Bap's still alive now. The Bap should have taken more damage than that, and we should have a hard swap to the lamp, right? This lamp should go down instantly because we know we can't get eliminations on their bunker while this lamp is up. So this lamp,
Mercy.
Orisa alone.
this lamp never got called.
Orisa alone. Down.
We're spending a lot of time on Orisa.
Down.
I'm down. Okay, Orisa.
We're fighting 3 different targets right now. We have a fight going on over here, we have someone fighting someone over here, and we have someone fighting someone over here. Dive has to be more synchronized than that. I'd have accepted 2 targets because our Tracer Ball couldn't get through, and we're fighting the Torb that came out to meet them and felt they could win that 2v1, and then our other team was on the BAP. But the call on the BAP really didn't happen, was way too slow, whatever you want to call it. We eventually decided on the Mercy, which was like, okay, but she's running away, whatever. Like, this was weird. We never had a call for the lamp. Like, Dive has to be explosive with how it plays, and this was way too scattered. So who do you guys have a primary target caller for your dives, or a primary target caller in general?
Usually the first target is calling ball, but our target calling is assigned to anyone. So, and if there is no target, anyone can start calling targets. That's our policy.
Okay. Do you guys then do echo calling where other people echo when they get on the target? Or do you just go, hey, you know, I'm going to trust that if someone's calling a target, people are going to get on it regardless of what people are saying?
I personally think we do echo calling quite a bit, yeah.
Okay. That's fine. I am fine with echo calling as a method. I would have liked, but this is clearly a example of it's not working out for us. So here we are.
Get the healers first if you can.
3, 2, 1. Dive.
We've just walked our Echo and Diva past this BAP that was right here with no call.
Mercy.
And you guys are like, we're obsessed with the Mercy. And it's like, why? But the BAP was right there. He was a little bit isolated. You guys could have absolutely deleted him. We never get a lamp call.
Orisa alone.
I mean, I just don't care about this Orisa here. The Orisa has Fortify, and we're still on it. Like, there's just no reason for our ball to still be on this Orisa instead of going back up. I don't know if we have Tether right now, but, like, this is... No. Not... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was trying to kill the Orisa because, like, top bottom left, you can see the ball. He actually died to the Orisa as well, so... I was trying to give him some sort of peel.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's just you literally can't take this thing down through Fortify. And now you guys are split on the number of targets that you're on. This is you're literally fighting 3 different fights here. And like this is the worst target for you to be on. I get that you're going, hey, my Zen is in trouble, but you can't really help your Zen against a fortifying Orisa. So it's sort of like,
even if you're peeling, generally you have to step between the person shooting and the person you're peeling for.
Yeah.
Right. So this just wasn't going to work. So I'm going to recommend that, we get a little more... it's hard to make recommendations here because I'm fine with echo calling, but I am going to say be willing to take the target that is accessible to us. Like, we need to recognize on the way in. I actually would have liked from our call us to have something pre-target selected, like 3, 2, 1, dive, and then I heard you guys repeat dive 3 times, and I'm like, dive what? Oh, dive what? Like, just dive? Like, and it's like, and even as you're leaving, you guys have vision of, oh, there's a BAP right here. So I'd have literally liked that to be dive, BAP, BAP, BAP. I would have liked and expected to hear that call. And I honestly would have expected this guy to get deleted or to get his lamp forced immediately and then transition to his lamp. Like, that's what I expected. His lamp got almost 4 seconds of value, 4 seconds of value, which is insane for the situation that was going on. He didn't get pressured fast enough. And I didn't really hear what our Tracer Ball team were on originally until we had the shenanigans going on over here. So if we had a soft calling for our Tracer Ball of the Torb that was meeting them, fine. But we're in this situation where no one really knows what anyone's on. Then we're chasing a Mercy through their comp. Again, Mercy can be a fine target, but this wasn't what we wanted.
Down.
I'm down. Okay, Orisa. Yeah.
Bap low.
Still Orisa off. Down. Still.
Bap one.
It's equal. Plus one. Okay, it was winnable. Don't use up.
Sigma low.
We win.
Where's my
Quick one down.
I dropped.
I shot on the last thing, bro.
I dropped.
Finish Bob.
Alright. Off already?
It's just high from Bob. I'm getting well, point.
Oh boy.
I think we're down.
No,
we
Okay, we are resetting. We're gonna group up with the payload and you dive as soon as possible because they still are waiting for response. You use ult, use every ult
Please stage. Please stage.
use every ult.
No. No. You guys are rushing this. They don't have as strong position as they did last time, so I understand the desire to call for them to dive fast, but we actually did want to stage because we could cleanly take this from them this time, and we'd have happened to catch a Sigma and eliminate the Sigma if we'd tried, and we can cleanly take this, and then we get our multi-direction dive, which is stronger than our unidirectional dive, and they don't have this good high ground against us anymore. So I know it's annoying that we didn't cleanly win the last fight, but we still want this multi-direction stage for this following dive here. It's going to give us better access to the back line as opposed to having to completely dive past their front line and then be threatened by this Sigma that will be here and we'll be able to shoot into our back or go here and shoot into our back line. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Orisa's alone. Ash dead.
Orisa Discord in the back.
Mercy browsing.
Magic Discord. Mercy down.
Again, I want that self-destruct called. I also, want the Valk called. I want us to have knowledge of how many ults we're using.
1 point. Nice.
Yeah.
Orisa.
Use ult, use every ult for use every ult.
Dive.
I'm good with the Valk dive here, but I'd like that reminder because, it's, hey, wait, my team... It reminds your team that they have a bunch of extra power for this.
Alone.
Ash dead.
Orisa Discord in the back.
Mercy browsing.
Magic Discord. Mercy down. 1 point. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Ashe is probably a better target than Orisa there, but okay.
Orisa. Ash. Take point.
Oh, 6 on point. Didn't see that. Down. 6 down.
Then on a payload, we are going to play slow until we get Transcendent. After that, we're gonna full dive again with both initiation tools.
They're going high ground. I'm agree.
Okay, top. Up there.
Use ult. Okay, reset.
My god.
Oh my god. They've just stacked
We're gonna
out
stage
there.
everyone.
Yeah, so
There.
you guys
They're
chased
going
in a
high
little
ground.
too deep here,
After
and
we're
what
gonna
you want to
full
do is it's actually really hard for them to push out of these chokes against the comp that you have. You can go as soon as they come out, you can dive them, etc. But by pushing in, you played more in their strong space. You understand what I'm saying? They have Kree, they have Torb, they have Orisa. Like they're stronger in this more enclosed space than you guys.
Dive again with both initiation tools.
They're going high ground. I'm agree.
Okay, top. Up there.
Use ult. Okay, reset.
My god.
Oh my god. They've just stacked
We're gonna
out
stage,
there.
everyone stages
Alright.
together. We're gonna engage with Transcendence and duplicate whoever you want.
Okay, they used did they use Window, they used Orisa, and they used Torb.
30 seconds.
I need healing before we do anything.
Okay, once we dive, we focus Emort, okay?
Okay, we'll push him with Trans this time. We'll push him with Trans, okay?
Yeah.
Alright.
Ready?
Nope,
Okay,
you're not
Emort,
staged.
3, Emort.
2,
One.
1,
Dive.
go!
Sigma.
Engage.
They used Emort.
Yep, I'm down. Thanks for the res.
This turret is fucking me.
Okay, so we can see how this goes.
Target.
Sigma.
Take one.
The McCree is the freer target.
Take one. Orisa.
McCree's still the freer target.
Okay.
Yeah, McCree's tearing you apart on the
Yeah,
other angles.
-1.
Stop.
Okay, that's over. So this was rushed. I know time was short, but time wasn't that short. Again, we actually do want to properly stage where we're coming from multiple directions on the left and the right here. And generally with our trans, we don't want a trans to get in. We would prefer to trans more where the dive lands. Like we want to use trans sort of to extend our life. And if we go, hey, we dive in, we're going to use all of our explosive cooldowns. And then our Zen will be pushing forward and he's sort of covered in his push forward by the fact that the dive happened. happens, and then he gets to trans to sort of activate the second life, we'll call it, for the people where they've landed. We don't want to trans to walk in as the initiation of the dive. We want to trans to extend the duration of the dive. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. And does the staging make sense in terms of how that's more powerful? Because that would have helped you on a couple of these attacks here now.
Yeah, that was on me.
Okay.
I taught them to stage together, so
All good.
that was
Okay.
my misunderstanding.
Then I'm really past out of time here, but if you guys have any final questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I would say your things to focus on are going to be, you want to understand this staging better. I want to make sure you're calling your neutral win conditions, which you're doing, so you don't really need to focus on that. But I want you to stage this better, and I want you guys to be more I want you to do a better job with your target calling in terms of recognizing the priority threats, be it separated targets especially. When you're playing this dive stuff, a BAP that's a little separated, a McCree that's a little separated, those are more vulnerable targets, even if there's just a little bit of separation. I want the calls onto those, and I want those to be more authoritative, and I want you guys to call your ults when they use them. It really will help you out in ways that you probably won't even notice, but then you'll be like, oh, this is solving problems I didn't even know we had. But any questions?
Not by me.
Okay. Go ahead.
No,
Cool.
no, I was saying no.